Hi, I'm Brad Lynch, also known as your mortgage guy for life. I've been doing home loans in the DFW area for about 24 years now, and I own my own business now as a mortgage broker here in Flower Mound, Texas, and I've been specializing in divorce financing for quite a while. So I want to tell you a little bit about this. Starting right off the bat, it's important that you know you really need to do your homework. I don't know what attorney you might be using or which one you're going to use, but it's important that you take on some responsibilities yourself. A lot of attorneys sometimes will let you complete a divorce decree with the perception that you're going to refinance the home at the end of the process and pay off the leaving spouse, take them off of title, and refinancing them off the loan. But they don't always tell you. You probably need to go see a divorce lending specialist ahead of time to kind of pre-approve you to make sure that you can do this. So I see a lot of people go through the process. They think they're all done with the divorce decree and they're good to go, and they plan on keeping their kids in the same neighborhood, going to the same schools, living the same life. Yet their expectations aren't right, because after divorce, they come to me and they find out that they can't approve for a mortgage. So there's some things that you need to know. So if you're thinking about divorce or you're in the middle of divorce, it's important because the property is always going to be a big deal in the process. It's always a negotiation factor, whether there's a little bit of equity or not equity, whether the leaving spouse wants to wait for you to wait for you to refinance them off the house. They might just want to, I just want you to sell it. I don't want to have to deal with it. I don't know what's going to happen. There's always things going on. So there's different processes. First off, if you're thinking about a divorce and you're serious about it, or you're in the middle of a divorce, you can contact me and I can do a pre-approval, and pre-approvals don't cost you anything. We can go in there, we can talk. Lots of times I can talk to you about your income and your assets, the value, help you with the value of your property. And we'll talk about your credit score and the debts that show up on your credit report. And sometimes I can even kind of pre-approve you without taking a full application or running credit. Now, if it sounds iffy at all, then I'm probably going to request that we go ahead and take a full application on you. And then at that point, we'll go through and make sure all is good. And also, this can also provide confidence to the leaving spouse. If you're trying to, for example, you want to refinance after closing to get them off the loan and off the title, but you also need to buy them out, and you're using my loan to do that, well, I'm going to use an Owelty. It's called an Owelty refinance, and we're going to, for example, if your leaving spouse, you owe them $50,000 on the buyout, then I'm going to get an Owelty during part of the process. You don't have to do it in the divorce, and I'm going to attach an Owelty lien on the $50,000. And when we do that, we'll roll that in. So if you currently have a loan on the home, or if you don't, it works either way. If you have a loan on the home, then we'll roll that Owelty on top of the current loan. We'll refinance them all together. And then at closing, the title company will cut a check to the current lender and pay off that mortgage, and then write a check to your leaving spouse and pay them off just like they're a lender. And that's the cleanest, easiest way to do it. And we can also go up to 95% loan to value when we do an Owelty refinance. If you go and you try to use the Texas cash out, which is what most banks and lenders will try to get you to do, you can only access up to 80% loan to value, which means you could leave a lot of equity in the house that you can't touch. Okay, so back to the confidence thing. If you've got a pre-approval letter, or an email from me saying that we've done this, we've looked at this, you can speak intelligently to the leaving spouse to let them know that upon divorce you can get this done. And typically I can have you refinanced in 25 to 30 days from the date of the final divorce decree. So it's important that you do that, because too many times they show up and they're heartbroken because they can't refinance. And if they just contacted a divorce lending specialist like myself, they could have taken care of this and known going in what their expectations were, that they couldn't refinance or keep the house afterwards. And then selling the house wouldn't have been such a big deal. Now, as far as coming up with a value, a lot of people think that they've got to order an appraisal before the divorce is final so that they can negotiate how much equity is going to be sent on the buyout, or if they're going to end up selling it and so forth. You know, I get it. It really, an appraisal, $600-800 appraisal is not that much money when you're looking at the big scheme of things, how much money you're going to spend in divorce. So it's not a terrible thing. But if you're going to refinance, whether you're doing a buyout or just going to refinance to take the leaving spouse off the title and off the loan after closing, I'm going to have to order my own appraisal. The lender's name has to be on the appraisal. We have to order it ourselves to stay compliant. So even if you just got an appraisal 2 months before, if you come to us and we need to refinance the loan, we're going to have to order our own appraisal. So now you're going to pay for one anyway. So it's possible. And again, I'm not an attorney. I don't practice as one. I've never taken the bar. I've never planned on it. So I can't give you legal advice. But my opinion in this, after doing plenty of these, is you could go ahead and talk to your attorney and see if they would just use the terms, upon refinancing, we're going to order an appraisal. And from the value of the appraisal during the refinance, we're going to pay the leaving spouse a certain amount of money. It could be, you could write it in there as $50,000, or you could say, you could use it as a percentage. You could say, we're going to pay it from the refinance, from the marital home. We're going to pay the leaving spouse 50% of the equity from the appraisal that's done during the refinance. And it doesn't have to be 50%. Sometimes it's negotiated because, one spouse may say, hey, listen, I want to keep my 401k. You keep 3/4 of the equity in the house. So if you have any more questions, I'm happy to talk with you. Like I said, I've been doing this for quite a while. Own my own company now as a mortgage broker here in Flower Mound, Texas. And I'd love to help you out. So please leave me a message or call or email me, and I'll put that information right here. Thank you.